Coming up on Mountain News this morning, students at the University of Kentucky talk about the scary situation they experienced after reports of shots being fired on campus came through. And the London Police Department uses multiple tactics to crack down on impaired driving to keep the public and its own officers safe on the roads.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. I'm Dakota Maker at 6:34 here. It's Thursday. Thanks for joining us this morning. Before we get started this morning, there is some news for you all in Letcher County. The Letcher County Public Schools posted on Facebook that Letcher Elementary and Middle School will be closed today due to an electrical outage, but all other schools will remain on a regular schedule. And again, that's Letcher Elementary and Middle that are closed today. Other schools are in session. And let's take it over to Brandon for a look at that forecast this morning. And Brandon, I'm unsure if the rain has anything to do with that electrical outage, but
possibly some lightning or something like that. Could just be, just a kind of a generic outage. Right. But again, I was actually working on that story as you were talking about it, so we'll get that up and out here pretty soon. But again, it's been raining, it's been storming, not really anything severe this morning, but we have had reports of some thunder and lightning, so it's definitely a possibility. Could be a lightning strike or something. Let's take a look back at the last few hours, last 6 hours to be exact. Rain started moving in. I actually made it to work before the heaviest bands of rain got here. So I got in the door. It was sprinkling when I got here. Then the real rain started coming a little closer to newscast time. But you see it's been coming through from the south all morning. It's going to start to eventually shift and come in from the west as that front starts to move and cold air starts to seep in. Now we're drying out a little bit into parts of southern Kentucky. That is not necessarily a good thing because if the sun comes out, that's going to help destabilize the atmosphere. So we need to really keep a close eye on that. The morning round coming through now. Hopefully we'll see some calm conditions. Speaking of Letcher County, Jenkins, US 119, US 23 going up the mountain there into southwest Virginia. Be careful. Roads wet across the region. There's some visibility issues out there as well. 49 Grundy, 60 in Monticello this morning. A lot of mid to upper 50s out there as you start your day. Speaking of starting your day, get you some breakfast before you head out the door. You'll see temperatures there basically in the mid to upper 50s. And again, it's a mild start to the day as those winds continue to come out of the south. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, the University of Kentucky is responding after students and staff were alerted to a shots fired call on campus early Wednesday morning. UK police say this was not an active shooter situation and gave the all clear within an hour. Jim Stratman spoke with students who say it was still an unnerving alert.
It kind of spooked me a little bit when I first woke up.
I think it's pretty scary just to hear there are shootings around campus.
Students at UK say it's common to get alerts from the university, but not for a shooting.
I typically get them for, rough weather. And so when I first saw a message from that automated system, I just assumed that was what it was going to be.
Around 1:30 in the morning, UK police sent that alert out after shots were fired inside a car inside parking structure 1, which is near Kroger Field. In a statement, UK police say that they responded within 2 minutes and were able to determine that nobody was hurt and there wasn't an active threat to the university. So they cleared that alert within the hour.
It was around where I live on South Campus, so it is scary because I was walking to the gym that morning, so I just was on high alert walking there.
University officials say that these kinds of situations on campus are pretty limited. They don't happen very often, but there are strategies in place that help officials respond when something like this does happen.
UK Police Chief Joe Monroe said in his statement that the university has invested more than $15 million into campus safety measures. Students that I spoke with say that that's paid off. And despite news of shootings like the one at Michigan State, they feel safe at UK.
It did occur to me that it's oh yeah, they're keeping track of dangers and alerting people. So that's probably good for whoever may concern.
It's kind of random, but I guess that provides me a little bit of comfort in a weird way. But obviously I still have a little bit of anxiety around the whole situation.
Being here with this one incident, it definitely feels like it doesn't happen too often for us.
Reporting in Lexington, Jim Stratman, WKYT.
A group of protesters gathered outside the Whitley County Board of Education yesterday, calling for change. Protesters say there have been 3 suicides in the last year from students at Whitley County Middle School. The group wants school leaders to take reports of bullying more seriously and recognize how severe they are.
A lot of people have went to teachers and principals and stuff saying that they've been bullied or they've seen people being bullied and nothing's being done about it.
The Whitley County Board of Education superintendent did come outside and talk to some of the students and family members, saying students' needs are prioritized and they hope to move forward in a better direction. A man in Bell County is facing charges after an underage girl and her parent reported him on Thursday for touching her inappropriately. The man was identified as 64-year-old Ricky Fuson of Pineville. The girl said the incident happened on June 7th in 2022. After several interviews with the Children's Advocacy Center, an investigation determined the girl was telling the truth. Fuson was arrested and is charged with first-degree sexual abuse. Drug and alcohol abuse continues to grow more prevalent within many Kentucky communities, and one police department is working harder to catch those who choose to get behind the wheel while under the influence. The London Police Department Chief Chuck Johnson says his department is working to crack down on DUIs through various incentives, including increased traffic stops, patrolling, and sharing more DUI arrests on social media.
If you're impaired, whether it be on alcohol, illegal substances, or prescription substances, do not get behind the wheel, because number one, if we catch you, you're going to go to jail, and number two, you know, you very easily could find yourself involved in an accident where you end up charged with assault or, you know, worst case scenario, murder.
He says this issue holds even more importance to them following the loss of Officer Logan Medlock, who they say was killed by an impaired driver last year. Firefighters have had a tougher time navigating around forest fires since the flood, raising more concerns as the spring fire season begins. Mudslides caused navigating fires in the fall difficult, and the debris can increase spread. Jay Call with the Kentucky Division of Forestry says as debris removal continues, they have more access through the mountains.
You know, we've encountered anything from roads that were washed out, slips and hillsides that have made it impassable for our dozers, or some of the roads, you know, have not been finished repaired yet, and it makes it hard for our transports and our dozers to access them. Maybe the roads are washed out and more narrow than they used to be.
Hall recommended not burning anything outdoors right now. And the Forestry Division was hard at work yesterday in Floyd County battling a forest fire that spanned around 200 acres on an abandoned strip mine. The division says the fire around Open Fork and Beach Road in David is contained and will not spread further, as crews took bulldozers and heavy equipment up to the fire and made a fire line to subdue the blaze. Crews say they've been working in the David area since early Wednesday, but are now hoping the rain will finish putting out any remaining flames. They say no structures were ever at risk, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation.
.641, the rain continues to fall outside the WIMT studios and across the region this morning. Heavy pockets of rain over into the Big Sandy, but down to the south and parts of the Cumberland Valley and Lake Cumberland areas starting to fizzle out there just a little bit, at least from the heavier bands. That's not a good sign necessarily, because that means drier conditions as the sun comes up might give some sunshine, which could warm those already warm temperatures up out there this morning. Visibility is rough, especially in the eastern counties, due to the heavier bands of rain, so we're watching for that, watching for some fog. Anything less than 5 miles in this map is dense fog. Temperatures already upper 50s, close to 60 out near Lake Cumberland and I-75, but you go the other way, you see temperatures out into parts of southwest Virginia in the low 50s and even the upper 40s there in Grundy. Out the door forecast, we are going to be seeing showers and storms off and on throughout the day. Not an all-day washout, but enough where you're going to notice that temperatures should climb into the upper 60s a little bit later on today. We'll see how it plays out with the rain. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. 642 still to come here on Mountain News this morning. Millions of children across the U.S. may be in danger of losing health care coverage. We'll explain why in just a few minutes.